Hey guys, welcome back to the Tamiya Rising Fighter build series. So we're going to work on step 12, which is building the differential gear. So you can see there's a lot of different gears I have in front of me. You have these two bigger, wider plastic ones, a couple screws, a couple washers, and then the smaller gears. Now this is a very crucial step. It's pretty straightforward. It's not too challenging. I thought it was really easy. You know, you have to grease a few parts, you screw a few parts, and that's pretty much it. Just be careful. You know, you want to be liberal with this grease because it is for your differential gear, right? So I know Tamiya does not give a lot of grease with their kits. I would apply as much of it as you can right here to the differential. You could also use other grease or buy other Tamiya grease, and that's definitely an option. Once you have your differential all assembled, you can move on to step 13, which is just pretty much putting the gearbox case over the differential. I'm going to go through that whole process as well in this video. I've been trying to keep it one step at a time, but you know, this build series is taking a long time, so I'm gonna do a little bit more here. Nothing too crazy. You can see here, I'm just greasing it up real nicely. And I mean, I can't say it enough. You wanna make sure you grease these gears very well, because once you have the high friction, high speeds in there, it's you want them to be running smoothly. Now, if you guys are finding this build series helpful, please let me know by leaving a comment down in the description. It really helps me out and helps, you know, give me an idea of what I should be doing in the future. Do you guys like these step-by-step videos? I have the thought of my next Tamiya build of just doing one video, full walkthrough of the entire build, but that would be like an hour-long video. So I don't know if people are actually interested in that or not, because it's long, it's hard to sit through. I feel it like having it broken out into these smaller videos makes sense. But let me know, guys. I'd appreciate that. So you can see here that I'm moving on to putting the aluminum gear into the, I guess, plastic outer gear, and this is, you just want to be careful to orientation of which way you're putting the gears in, both for the little triangular pattern right here that we're looking at and the other gears, right? If you put them in the wrong orientation, they're not gonna spin freely, and you want to make sure that you don't have these gears get chewed up, right? You don't want to put your battery in, go out and run it, and you strip those gears your first run, second run, whatever it might be. So pay attention to the orientation of the gears, grease it up. You know, I found it pretty easy that once I had these triangle type of gears in, I could go ahead and put some grease on them, spin them, and there were no issues. And then the same thing for those other gears. You grease them up, put them into place, and you're good to go. Now, when it becomes time to cover up the inner gears, I guess, you want to make sure you have the correct orientation for this outer plastic gear. You line up the holes correctly, otherwise you're going to have issues with screwing it in and tightening it correctly. It's not that challenging, but just take your time, make sure you line it up correctly. You don't want any issues with that. Once you have those screws tightened up and you have your differential gear fully assembled, you're able to go ahead and put it in the gearbox, right? So this is that plastic housing. You need a couple different parts here. Of course, there's the two different covers. Then you have some screws to hold both halves together. You know, it's pretty straightforward. You just have to go again and make sure you orient the gear correctly, because if this doesn't line up with the gear that we put in on step 11, it's not going to spin correctly, the motor's going to bind up, it's going to chew up the gears, and you're going to have a broken gearbox. You don't want that. So just go ahead, grease this up as well, and then you don't have to go too crazy, because once this is installed, you could spin this pretty easily and you're good to go at that point. You know, this is a real important but simple step in your Tamiya build kit, right? So just go ahead and double check the orientation. You can tell where it lines up and which way it's facing. You have like the flat part going into the left half of the gearbox, and then you have the rounded part going towards the right half of the gearbox, which is where the motor will be inserted on step 14. So pretty straightforward gearbox build. You know, I've built both this Rising Fighter kit and the Grasshopper kit, and I think this gearbox was a lot more simple to build than the Grasshopper 2 gearbox was. So take your time. It's not challenging. It's great for beginners, and it's pretty straightforward. You know, you could follow along step by step, and if you run into any issues, just comment down below and I'll be happy to try and help you. So I hope you guys all enjoyed this video. I will see you in the next one. Peace.